All right, with Notre Dame, I look at position players that they have. Obviously, their leading tacklers are their two inside linebackers, and Xavier Watts is their free safety, and it's because of what they like to do up front. This gentleman right here, Riley Mills, got hurt in the Indiana game and will not be playing. He's by far one of their bigger D linemen up front. I think he does a good job. There's nothing to me that writes home that says that he's necessarily going to be a pivotal change in what they do up front, because to me, I thought even with him in the lineup that we would be able to move this front pretty well. I do say this, they do play very solid defense. Their tendencies are to be a cover one team a lot of the time. And this is, to me, the reason why I look at their strength of schedule. You know, they got Texas A&M at the beginning of the year. They have the flop against Northern Illinois, but I mean, they play a string of teams that just absolutely don't have a pulse up until Louisville, which to me, Louisville, they play them and win by a touchdown. Georgia Tech, they handled pretty well, who was playing with a hurt quarterback at that time. Navy and Army, both very solid teams this year, but to me, just not the equivalence of what any other team that we're looking at on the playoff roster would be equivalent to. A Florida State team, Virginia. To me, the only two teams that I felt like were equivalent to what I would want to see against us is, perhaps their biggest rivalry during the course of the year. Notre Dame and USC has always been a big rivalry game, playing out at the Coliseum. And then, of course, against Indiana in the playoff, because that's obviously a big stakes game. So, I wanted to look back beyond the Indiana game because I just really felt like there were some things defensively I wanted to see differently. And I wanted to see how USC did with them, because with this game against USC, I think they ended up pulling away late. But this was a really good ball game all the way up to the very end. They ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. But what you've got here is they're going to convert to a cover one here. And they do this a lot. They actually did this against Indiana as well. Is they're going to basically think, okay, we've got a run situation here by Mayava and USC, the kid from UNLV that Georgia almost got as a quarterback for USC now. But they're going to have a run blitz on here. They're also going to bring their safety down. They're basically their backside safety, not Xavier. And then they're going to go cover one. So they're locked up here, locked up here, locked up here. And because they're bringing him, he's got to be a secondary outlet for this guy if he were to release. And, of course, the Mike sitting here looking at the running back in the back of the field, and he's free to the middle of the field. They're going to let him roam because he is a solid player. Honestly, from what I see of all the things that they do, is that they do run blitz themselves out of play sometimes, and because they're in cover one a lot, they put a lot of stress to their middle safety. Here they do a pretty good job up front. You can see it is a run play. You can see this run blitz coming. This guy looks like he's pulled out. He's coming downhill to basically feel for the guy that's left, and because it is a run play, now he has no man responsibilities. He's just going to fit right behind that, and he's the one that ends up coming up stressing the running back to make the play, and then the Mike fits over the top here and makes the tackle on this. So if I rewind this and go back real quick, we will definitely see a lot of this. I wouldn't doubt it on the first play from scrimmage that we actually see something like this too. Now they play basically, it looks almost like a 4-3 instead of a 3-4 concept. They have 4 true down linemen. They call their backside jack, like we have a jack. They call him the Viper, and then they replace their Rover, which is, if you look at this is like a 4-3. They're going to go 4-3 cover one. The Sam backer is basically played by 2 positions. You first off have the Rover. Their Rover is Jalon Sneed, number 3. I think that's who's in here right now for rundown situations. And then they will run their nickelback Jordan Clark in, number 1, who basically plays as a 5th DB when it's passing down situations. But in this case, it's 1st and 10. It's the first play from scrimmage. They're going to look like a 4-3. You've got your Rover in here. They're going to play a game, go cover one here, and do a pretty good job up front. But, you sit there and see USC's offensive line is moving them around, but they do have linebackers that scrape to the football very well. But they do that by run blitz situations. All right, they're going to bring the same blitz again, but this is a little different because what I notice out of this is that when the corners bail, they bail to a zone concept look. But this guy right here really tries to push across to cover the number 2 receiver. They're going to bring their boundary safety down. They're going to end up running a blitz with their inside wheel linebacker, going to be pushing through this gap. He's going to end up sitting because I feel like off this play action right here, he thinks there's possibly a wheel off of this. So he's got him man. So he's, of course, gone. So what they're going to bring is a 5-man pressure with him sitting in zone. I'm assuming you got a free safety that's going to be sitting to the field because obviously he's, right now they're in the middle of the field for the most part. So he's going to really have to work more to the wide side of the field off of this. But because of them bringing this pressure again, with him coming down off the edge, he doesn't end up coming off the edge once he realizes play action's coming across. They end up getting stressed by this linebacker right here, and that causes USC to be flushed on this. But you can still see a same kind of cover one look right here. I think it's cover one. I don't know if they're matching here because of the way it's set up. It looks like he's digging down, but he's working to try to get across to that number 2 receiver that's looks like he's wheeling off of this. And this is something I think we need to take advantage of. If we see this guy walking down, we need to run some kind of fly screen out of this too, out of our trips, or even a set where the number 2 bubbles, we turn and throw immediately to him, and the number 1 goes and blocks if he's going to be playing that far off, if we see this type of pressure, especially coming from the boundary here. But, still, that linebacker pressure coming through, and the guard can't pick him up very well. I believe it's guard. Nope, it's running back off play action, doesn't pick him up. The guard never sees it, and that flushes Mayava out of the pocket, and he has to throw the football away off that same blitz I just showed you a second ago. Now, this is a play where they're going to get Xavier Watts, try to involve him in the game right here because he is a big body type. I like the way he covers. I think he's a good tackler in space, and there's obviously a reason why they stand behind this kid, but they've brought him down into the box here to basically play with the other 2 linebackers in your 4-3 concept. And what they're going to do is the nickel and the other safety are going to play games here because you're still in cover 1 match is what they're going to do here. They're going to bring this guy in some type of orbit motion, I believe, off of this, and all they're going to do is trade out. He's going to become the free safety, and this other safety now is going to cover number 2. And when he sees this fly route right here, he goes straight to the football. They do a good job of adjusting and managing. I think with motion and things of that nature, you'll notice in this case, as they put in motion, there's the exchange. He now is the free safety. He now has the number 2 receiver coming to this side. They end up throwing it to him on this. And then you got this 4-3 in the box, 7 people taking care of the run concept here because they're going to show sort of a play action or split zone look off of this. Actually, it looks like it's kind of almost like power because the running back's the same side of where the H is coming to. And off this play action, they're going to throw the fly. And this guy, the minute he notices that he's throwing the football, he is taking off to it. And, like I said, in this case, even though he's getting blocked in the back, the receiver comes off of him late to try to block him. That's the stress you want to cause by this because now he's occupied. Now he finishes this up. But this guy ends up making the tackle off of this because of what he does, even though he's not the primary guy that brings him down. He does a good job and makes him right by making the tackle right there. To me, honestly, this was the play that I thought that makes me realize I feel like we can move these guys very well. Like I said, there's a reason why when you've got your 3 linebackers here in this situation, you've got your rover in the game, and it really looks like a 4-3. You can see all 11 defenders. You can see the true 4 down lineman look with the Viper here on the edge. Jack Kaiser, number 24, this is one of their primary linebackers, one of their leading tacklers on the team. Xavier Watts is back here, so they've got the rover in the ball game on this because they expect a run situation. I'm going to show you real quick. I'm really kind of confused on their run scheme right here. This ends up becoming like XB power. So you end up because this guard is uncovered, he's going to end up climbing to him. He's going to be folding inside and should be getting to the mic right here. I don't know why we're bringing this motion to split. If we're going to run the split off of this tackle needs to be climbing up inside and trying to get to him. And then, of course, the guy coming across should be taking this guy right here should be taking him because obviously they're running the football this way. So it looks like ISO to me is what I would call this, but I don't know why they don't go ahead and just bring this guy inside as well and let him take the first thing outside, let this guy fold and take the second thing outside, and now you can fan block. Of course, I'm sitting here getting into X's and O's. I love fan blocking on ISO if you run it because of the way the 4-man front is set up right here. But I want you to watch. These guys get really excited about this tackle, but I want you to watch how far this is right here on this play. I've never in my lifetime seen a guard come straight to somebody and a linebacker sit and wait on him. If you're reading guards and you see a guard come out to you, you got to go blow that up, punch and press, and try to keep your leverage. Since you're the outside backer on this case scenario, you want to punch and press. You should be engaging about the time where the Notre Dame's asses are at right here. But he sits and catches this guy. If you watch him, he's just sitting. That guard comes out to him. I mean, the play coming right at you, linebacker. You got to be hitting him now to make that running back make a decision in the hole. But because you sit, you not only create a wall by that guard that's coming out to block you, that tackle's doing a great job on the outside. Now, this is the reason why, like I said, look how we're moving. USC does a great job of moving them right here. And here's my primary front side linebacker to the play. I mean, there's no misdirection here, Kaiser. None whatsoever. I don't understand why you're not punching and pressing his ass right here. Why you haven't attacked him. And what's so funny, he does evade the guard, and he comes off and he makes a tackle. But, there's Xavier Watts coming in, your Rover coming in, there's Kaiser coming in, but he's got a 6-yard gain, and they get up and start kind of congratulating one another on this. I'm going to watch it from this angle as well right here because, like I said, he's running split action after this. He's folding. I don't know what he ends up getting. I like where the guard's leaving to, so he fits inside of that to the mic, so it's a good setup. But, it's like I said, why are you waiting so long to come up and make this tackle? You should be attacking that guard now. Instead, you're not. You're using your speed to get off of them. Running back's got to make a better cut than that because of the miss. But again, you're excited about that Hurricane tackle right there that you just made 6 yards depth when you're the primary linebacker that should be coming up and blowing that up in the hole with your guard right here and turning this back inside to your help, which you don't really have any except for Xavier Watts coming up here at the very end. But still, this is about a 7 to 8 yard gain. All right, I'm going to show you two things here. First off, from Georgia's perspective, there's nothing wrong with us going empty and putting a linebacker on our running back. And in this case, I don't know why they do this, but they put their Mike, Drake Bowen, on the number 3 receiver in this case, which is a tight end. We would have this guy removed. I think the running back is down here. They end up having a corner on him. And this is one of the guys that I really would like to. This is the field cornerback on the number 2 receiver. I don't know because of the transition here where let's see, you got 4 in the box, you got 5 across, so that's 9. So you got 2 guys left. One guy's got to have this, so they're in a cover 1. And I look at wherever that corner is at, he's got this guy man, he's in man. But this is a guy that I really do think we can take advantage of. I don't know why 29 seems to be always when it's something was a big play in this game. He was the one that was caught up in this. And guys, I know Notre Dame fans are going to sit here and say this is a pick all day long, but this is why you run shallow because you get so much cross up in the middle right here. I mean, these two guys coming across, I mean, basically he's got to work his way across. 29 is chasing here. And I know he's got to do a better job of selling his shallow coming back across or his mesh coming back across. But basically, this is a true shallow route by the running back in 29. Once he realizes he's rubbed, he doesn't work over the top of this whatsoever. Then, of course, don't call this. But once he's rubbed, I want you to watch just his effort right here. He's just like, well, whatever, There's no sense of urgency to try to – that's your guy, and you just sit there and just lollygagged at him. And I'm going to show you why. There's another play that he does as well. But this is the benefit to me that if Georgia runs a lot of empty sets with our running back, I think we can take advantage of whoever they're matched up against because in this case, they're going to bring a 5-man pressure. And this is something that Gunner's going to have to be aware of too. If you bring a 5-0 and there's nothing in the middle of the field with all these crossers running man and you can squirt through there, you've got this coming downhill. He's going to end up picking it up. But if you can find something like that to get out on the pocket here and be running with all the defensive backs chasing from behind, you've got a good running lane as well there in that situation, Gunner. But this is the shallow being caught against their 5-man pressure that they bring and have a good explosive play against their defense. I surely hope we can catch these guys in this kind of blitz because they're going to bring Xavier Watts down and bring him off the edge. They're going to pull back off of this. They're going to bring pressure here, and then bringing him off the edge. And it seems to be some kind of man. I don't know if it's cover 1 man in this case scenario because there's your one guy that's sitting right here that's your zone defender. But he bails out like a zone defender. These two guys end up taking the yap side, which is your Y right here, and your H. And these guys bail out like they're in zone. But again, here you've got 29 up top. You've got Xavier Watts coming down off the edge. And I hope that we have some kind of exploitation out of this, especially in the middle of the field, to run something. Because if he's going to bail out and just put his butt to the sideline like a zone cover 3 look, because that's what this looks like, is cover 3 with a man under, I'm assuming right here, bringing this extra guy, and he becomes your flat defender, is that if you run something to this side, if you go cover 3 with what you have with a safety coming down and bringing a blitz with a safety, you leave an area open, which is realistically this whole area right here to the non-apex side, because he becomes the strong safety. These guys run with the man that they have, and then you got sort of a cover 3 shell over the top. But this area is wide open, which we need to exploit, is basically replace where he comes from. So you either run a slant to the hole where he leaves from, or you run some type of slot fade or a true fade, or an MOR route, which is a mandatory outside release, whatever it is. And USC does this right here and takes advantage of 29 again. I want you to watch 29 in his bailout on his zone right here and just lets his guy go by. There's no way that the free safety can get over to that, especially if he recognizes it quick. Now, I get it. From a defensive coordinator standpoint, you're saying, I want to get to him before he can throw this ball, because I am a little bit on a shell back here now with my coverage in the back, because even though I've got these two guys in man, it's going to be really hard. You're asking a lot for your free safety to get over the top of this. And Mayava sees it quick enough. And then again, 29 here just kind of, lollygagging. And then once the ball is thrown, again, taking advantage of that. Look at him just lollygagging. No sense of urgency to try to get to it once he knows that he's beat. That's something I feel like we can take advantage of all day long, and I want to take advantage of it all day long. So I don't know if this is a busted coverage here, if they're just running a 3 shell behind it with no true apex defender, because they're bringing this guy off the edge and they're saying we want to get to the quarterback before they realize the throw here. But this is a way you exploit a defense that's unsound in this case scenario, because they're going man. Xavier's coming off the edge, and they get the go route on the outside. This should look familiar, because it is. They're going to do the same thing that they've done. They're going to bring their rover down on a blitz, so it's a 5-man pressure with your 4 down linemen. Again, you're in man across the board, and they're looking for the one guy that gets sort of left out of the situation. Is these 2 linebackers have got to communicate who's going to take the crosser, because he's gone. Okay, when you get a guy that's gone, he has no responsibility whatsoever to that. So if you've got, I look at this as 7 in the box, and then I should have 4 other defenders. So I've got a free safety sitting in the middle of the field that either is the robber that should be coming down on this shallow in this situation, or these 2 guys have got to communicate who's got this guy right here, because that's what ends up happening. You're again in a empty set situation. You've got the tight end releasing off of this as well. So you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receiver set right here. It's basically an empty set, and they lose the shallow route coming across. What you're going to see in this is you're going to see your H-back is going to come across on the shallow. He should be over the top of this on the mesh, and he's got the shallow underneath of this. Anytime you have just a shallow coming across, that's where I will call it 90, whatever, the, H shallow, Y shallow, Z shallow. You can do it with any guy you've got. And then the other guy over the top would be a dig or a, MOB route over the top. But since he's running this across as well, I would just call this 92 mesh, where you have 2 crossers, and then you should have something that comes open behind the 2 crossers if it were zone. But in this case scenario, Notre Dame's in their cover 1 man look again. They're going to bring a backer, 5-man pressure. Everybody's manned up with a free safety sitting in the middle of the field, and this guy gets lost on the shallow route. Goes underneath it, catches it actually behind the line of scrimmage, but still close to a 10-yard gain, and your free safety has to come up and make the play. Welcome in. You found the right place. My name is Chris Hayes, and I am at Coach Hayes Hudl, and I'm always wanting to connect the fan to the fundamentals of football. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe and get those notifications from at Coach Hayes Hudl. See you soon.